Hi, I'm Dennis Janessi, Board Certified Podorthist and P.W. Miners Director of Podorthic Education. Welcome to Shoe Fitting, Step by Step. In the next few minutes, we will share with you proper shoe fitting techniques, discuss the more common problems, and most importantly, the solutions that can help you in the fitting of all feet. Shoe fitting is sometimes compared to a maze, moving in every which direction with no direct route to finding the fit that works best for the consumer and their foot conditions. In fact, there isn't a magic formula for shoe fitting, and that's because there's no such thing as a perfect shoe fit. That's right, perfect shoe fit is impossible. The reason is simple. No two pairs of feet are exactly alike. And taking it a step further, no individual's 2 feet are exactly alike. Studies by the Podorthic Footwear Association prove this point. Now it might be width or a little bit in length, but try measuring both feet when people come in. You'll see nobody has exactly the same size. Therefore, perfect fit is impossible. As a professional podorthist, I am often asked questions on shoe fitting. Questions like, how do I measure the foot properly? How important is shoe shape and fitting? Or, when should I measure a person's feet for a new pair of shoes? Our goal is to answer these common questions that you or your staff have about shoe fitting. And these very principles can be used in all your shoe fitting, as well as some special techniques that will help you in fitting people with special foot problems. Shoe fitting can be broken down into 3 basic areas: evaluation, tools, and techniques. And in each category, there's important elements. First, let's talk about evaluation and the very important area of fit.
The first kind of fit is called static fit. That's when the foot is at rest. A great deal of people spend their day sitting at a desk, or maybe a person who is confined to a wheelchair. This foot is very different from the weight-bearing fit, the second kind of fit. The weight-bearing fit is when the foot changes when weight is put on it. If you lift your foot in midair, it may have a certain shape, but when you put weight on it, that shape may change. The foot will get longer and wider. The fact is that it's very important to know what happens to the foot in both weight-bearing and non-weight-bearing conditions. The third kind of fit is functional fit. That's the foot during dynamic conditions, running, walking, even a foot that's just very active. Everything is in motion, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. This foot creates a different type of fit. The fourth and final kind of fit is the thermal fit. Our feet get larger as the day goes on. Feet perspire, and as they get warmer, they get larger.
So the challenge is, how do you fit all 4 of these different feet? It's a big challenge, and since many people only wear 1 pair of shoes, it's a tough situation to be in. We've got to be able to fit all these different feet and find out what activity they're most involved in, and think about that when fitting. Some literature suggests that measuring should take place at the end of the day, when feet are swollen. This really doesn't make much sense. The logical thing to do is to fit the shoes when the person is going to be wearing them the most. Now that we've established the 4 kinds of fit, we'll need to discuss shoe shape, a vital part of the shoe fitting process. You can have the correct size, but if the shoe is not the correct shape for that foot, that means you can toss all that sizing information right out the window. Just look at your family or coworkers. Everyone has different shaped feet. That means you not only need different kinds of shoes and styles, you also need different shoe shapes. Let's take a look at what determines shoe shape. You might be surprised.
Shoes are made over lasts. These plastic or wooden foot molds are what allow the shoe company to form the actual shoe. The last determines the shoe shape, shoe size, and shoe girth. The last can be many different shapes. Lasts are individual to the manufacturer, and there are no government standards in last or even shoe sizes. Lasts are designed by the manufacturer and can be created in any shape they choose. There are some basics that, as shoe fitters, we should be aware of. The standard last is the one that a majority of shoes are created on. Athletic shoes, casual shoes, all basically are made on a standard last. That means limited sizes and widths, and that's also one way to keep prices down since only one kind of last is being used. A large percentage of the population can fit into shoes made on the standard last. The combination last is more associated with an orthopedic or podorthic shoe. The combination last means that the heel is graded narrower than the forefoot. Simply put, the heel is sized smaller than the rest of the shoe. The orthopedic last has the largest range of sizes and widths as well as shapes. Remember, manufacturers make the last and call it a size. Once it is given a size, then the increments between sizes and widths is standard. For example, the difference between a full size in length is 1/3 of an inch, regardless of whose shoe it is, men's or women's.
Sizes and inventory are important issues here. Understanding your inventory is vital. And remember, the sizing numbers only mean something within that particular last. One short note on widths. When shoes come in narrow, medium, or wide, usually it means the upper comes in these sizes. However, they are fitted over a medium base. This means it's not a true width. When we talk about true widths, the sole and the insole should change with these widths to fit the bottom of the foot. So our foot for fitting has been evaluated. Now it's time to discuss foot measurements and measurement devices. The key thing to remember here is whichever device you use, that you are measuring the foot, not the shoe. The two different kinds of measuring devices that are commonly used to measure the foot are the Rit stick and the Brannock device. When people ask what shoe size they wear, our answer should really be, we don't know, because we measure foot size, not shoe size.
First, let's look at the Rit stick. It measures toe length, and then it is turned around to measure the forefoot. This device only gives you two measurements, length and width, and they're difficult to obtain. The more common measuring device is the Brannock device. It measures heel to toe, gives you width measurements, and most importantly, it gives you a heel to first metatarsal, or the base of the big toe measurement. And that's our most important measurement, called arch length. Heel to toe, width, and arch length. These three measurements will help us go to the shelf and find the proper shoe. Also, remember, when measuring, we must measure both weight-bearing and non-weight-bearing. If the first metatarsal is in the right place, there's a natural arch built into the shoe. If the first metatarsal is in the wrong place, then you are not taking advantage of that arch. If fit properly, there should be some room between the toes and the end of the shoe. The widest part of the shoe should fit the widest part of the foot. That's why the arch measurement is so important. The first metatarsal and the corresponding fifth metatarsal need to be in the widest part of the shoe. Here are 2 feet that are exactly the same toe length, but look at where the first metatarsal is on each foot. That means different shoe fits are required. Shoes are not sized for toe length, they are sized for arch length. We do, however, need to accommodate for proper toe length. The foot elongates both forward and backwards. That means we need toe room and room for the heel. As a rule, for the toe, we need 3/8 to 1/2 inch between the longest toe and the end of the shoe. The longest toe doesn't always mean the big toe. Many people have longer second or third toes. Tell people that there will be some heel movement. It's allowable. It's supposed to be there. Blisters tend to appear in a fit that is too small. Let's look at some x-rays of the foot to display shoe fit. This first x-ray is a foot without a shoe on it. Compare that with a foot in a dress shoe. See the compression of the lesser 3 toes? It's actually even influencing the big toe. That's dress shoe fracture. Wearing shoes that fit improperly can cause more foot problems than imagined. Here's a great tip to prove the point about proper shoe fit. Have a person stand on a piece of paper, trace around the foot, and then put their shoe on top of it. That's a very graphic way of showing people that their shoes fit improperly. Volume is important too. Look at the foot. Is it skinny, fat, or muscular? What's going to happen when they start walking? If the foot measures a 7AA, but it's a very fleshy foot, you know that you're not going to get that foot into a 7AA and will need to go to an A, B, or C width. That's where having a good fitting inventory will help you.
Shoe fitting is a maze. It's not a simple thing, but it is workable and goes back to our basic principle: you're measuring and fitting the foot, not the shoe. Some other points we should be aware of. Brannock devices, just like lasts, are individual to the manufacturer and coincide with the manufacturer's lasts. What this means for you, the shoe fitter, is that Brannock devices from various manufacturers will only work for that shoe brand. This makes your knowledge of each company's last a very important step in shoe fitting. Let's summarize some other important steps in the shoe fitting technique. Some shoes have shorter ball-to-toe measurements. Make sure you have observed the ball-to-toe measurement. Heel to outer ball. Remember that first metatarsal joint should be corresponding with the fifth metatarsal joint in the widest part of the shoe. Ball width. Look to see if that shoe is completely under the foot or if the foot is falling off the sole and insole. Check heel fit. Does the shoe cradle the heel? Check the back of the heel fit. There may be a little room back there, and remember, that's okay. Look at the counters of the shoes. Good shoes should have medial and lateral counters at different heights. Check to see that the counter height is not causing pressure on the ankle bone. Inspect top lines. Watch for gapping. Look at the vamp to see that it fits over the metatarsals and the toes. It shouldn't be skin tight or too loose. You should be able to gather a little bit of leather. Review the location of the tip of the fifth toe. Make sure there is no pressure here. That could cause calluses. Throat line. Look down here. No wide gap or wrinkles should appear. Have the person walk. Check the tread as they do. Make sure their gait and the sole of the shoe is compatible. Last, and probably most important, listen to the people. With everything we do, we're still working for people, so we need their input. Don't underestimate the importance of a good fitting inventory. You are only as good as the options you can provide the customer in shoes and shoe shapes. Fit, evaluation, fitting techniques, and feedback. Combined, they are all elements that can contribute to proper shoe fitting.